our Avon head coach, Mike Elder. And Mike, going into this season, big expectations for you guys. And starting off with last year, you guys went 14-1, won the Southwestern Conference and won the regionals, but you guys fell up short against Avon in the state semifinals. Just kind of about how that's been a driving force for you guys this going into this season.
Well, whenever you are chasing greatness and trying to win a state championship, unfortunately, it only ends happily for one team. And for us, it hasn't been that team yet. So that is a driving factor. We want to win the last game. That's always a goal. Along the way, there's checkpoints. We want to win the SWC. We want to beat our rivals. We want to win the first one. But the ultimate goal in Avon is to win the state championship. So whenever you fall short, anybody who's a competitor, which we have a lot of them on our team and on our coaching staff, you get back to work. And so that's what our kids have done. They took the disappointment of losing 17-14 to Hoban in the Final Four, and they've used that to fuel them to try to get better and make another run at this thing.
Yeah, and it always helps when you have your quarterback back, Nolan Good, and then Kent State commit. Just kind of talk about how his offseason been, just getting better after tearing up his injury in that regional semifinal game.
Yeah, so, obviously he had the injury. He battled back from that, rehabbed it, was able to get back for basketball season. Our basketball team had a great year. Nolan was a big part of that. So he was competing right away, which was nice to see. It was fun to go to those games and watch him. But then once basketball ended, he's really worked hard on his craft of being a more accurate passer. He's got legit D1 arm talent, obviously, and his athletic abilities off the charts. That's why he's committed to Kent State. I think they've gotten the best quarterback in the entire state of Ohio. And of course I'm biased, but I'm watching this kid, and the growth he's made from last year to this year is remarkable.
And it always helps when you have your two wide receivers back, Matt Maxey and Cole Kebner. Just talk about how big those guys are going to be for you this season.
Yeah, and also throw Grant Barr into that mix. He was a sophomore who ended up starting for us last year, so he's got all those weapons back, including Ty Beerbaum at tight end. So every weapon for Nolan is back, minus our running back. So that's a luxury to have. Those guys are dynamic. Cole's got elite track speed, and I don't know that there's anybody more twitchy and dynamic than Matt Maxey. And then our tight end, 6'4", 245 pounds. And then Grant Barr, we expect him. He was a great player last year to leaps and bounds to even become better.
Yeah, and returning your three offensive linemen is huge. I mean, Jeremiah, Sam, and Cole. How important will those guys be for your factor on the offensive line?
Well, you can't win an SWC championship, or you can't win in the playoffs without being stout on offensive line and defensive line. We recognize that. Coach Mulgrew, Coach Fishley, our offensive line guys do a really good job on the D-line. Coach Ricardo, and then Coach Cicchetti, our defensive coordinator. Technically speaking, they coach those guys so well. But if you're going to win at the level we want to win, you got to do the work in the off season in the weight room, and they've all done that. And we're in June still making gains. That's the goal. But I'm proud of them of where they're at, and I think they're going to give us a chance in every game.
Yeah, going into this season, the first three non-conference games will be huge. Going up against St. Ignatius at Cleveland Brown Stadium, and then McKinley and Glenville. How important will those first three games will be for you guys before conference play begins?
They're great tests, but ultimately our ultimate goal is to win the last game. And so we want to grow and learn through those games. Of course, we want to win. We'd like to start out 3-0. Of course, why wouldn't you? But worst case scenario, we're playing really good competition. We're going to grow and get better through that. And we want to be playing our best football at the end of the year. So I'd love to tell you that, we want to go 3-0, but if we don't, it's not the end all be all. And if we go 3-0, it's not the end all be all. There's still work to be done.
And then there's been but no breaks when you guys go into the Southwestern Conference. Just talk about your guys' confidence once again going up against these Southwestern Conference teams.
I think sometimes people take it for granted the success we've had in that league, because it's such a good league and there's so many good coaches and great players in that league, and we have tremendous respect for all of our opponents. And when we show up at a stadium or they show up at ours, we are circled on everybody's calendar as the biggest game of their season, and we recognize that and own that. We don't run from it, we run to it. And that makes it a lot of fun. There's some great rivalries in the SWC.